He's what's his name from Lost.
He's a bad guy. Everybody likes the bad boys.
Saeed. He's Saeed from Lost.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was willing to give it like a few episodes just based on that casting, and then I was like, nope.
Everyone always does that with something that like somebody from Lost is in.
Mm-hmm. I know,
it's
even
like,
though...
oh, you know what? I'll give it a couple. It's like, no one on Lost was particularly great.
Yeah, that happens for some shows. Like, I started watching Longmire because I liked Battlestar Galactica. Like, so it happens for some shows where like a cast will carry over, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'll give that a shot.
Oh yeah, if Katie Sackhoff's in something, I will watch. I'll give it a shot.
Because Battlestar was great.
I didn't think she was that great on Battlestar.
I thought they messed up her character.
Well, I got really tired of pretty much everything about
The only two people that mattered on Battlestar were Edward James Olmos and Captain Ty.
The two old men?
Yeah, the two old men.
Oh no, I thought the president woman was fantastic.
Oh, and her. Yes.
Yeah, Mary McDonald's.
Mary McDonald.
I mean, she was a prisoner, so I just assumed she was an old man.
I wouldn't go to her procedural that she's doing now, because that's just like a network garbage show.
Right.
But Mary McDonald.
No, the three of them were the only reason to watch that show.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we settled that. Hey, everybody, we started without you. Welcome to another CineFix Now straight line of chairs discussion.
Couldn't help it.
We're not even like semicircled.
I can't even see
I'm
the
having
other
to
end of the
lean
line.
past
It's
Christina
like-
to see truly.
It's like when a restaurant makes you sit at the bar with all your friends, and you're like,
that's the worst.
"Hey, Steve."
Never sit at
that's
a bar
the
with more
worst.
than three people.
I won't do it. I'm too good for it.
I just won't do it.
On principle.
So that's two things that we've settled already.
Knocking
We
it
haven't
out.
really even started talking yet.
And it's still morning.
And it's still early.
It's real early.
So this week, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is disproportionate anger. So recently, obviously, Fantastic Four just came out. A lot of people real mad.
Real mad.
About
like,
Fantastic
really
Four.
mad.
And without trying to defend Fantastic Four
No.
in any way, it's interesting what we choose to be really mad about and why. Because largely the reviews of Fantastic Four have been like, look, there's nothing here. This is not a whole movie. There's nothing here. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. But ultimately, it's not just a steaming pile of garbage.
Right. The actual sort of review conversation is like, look, there's a couple of positive things to this movie.
Yeah.
The movie itself, no. But we can see kind of where there was maybe a direction for this movie, and instead of like reining that in so it wasn't as long and boring, and keeping to that kind of vision, they just kind of tacked on an ending and did a bunch of reshoots and didn't bring it all together. But you can kind of see where pieces of it were gonna be good.
And the sum total of it is like, it is nothing.
It's like,
and everybody,
See something.
yeah,
see
and it's like
minus
that's the biggest sin that a movie can commit.
Well,
Is
especially
sort of what it feels like.
when there's expectations or sentimentality or like promise attached to them. Like, I think with Fantastic Four, the first two Fantastic Four movies were like really on the bad side for like a whole bunch of cheesy reasons. This one at least promised to be more like in-depth and interesting. But then it just didn't follow through.
I will say this for the first two Fan 4 movies, is they were consistent.
They were consistent.
They were the same movie from start to finish.
When you started watching it, you knew exactly what you were getting, and that's what it
stayed that
delivered.
thing for the whole course of the movie.
And that's the thing. I think when you're dealing with like a franchise like this, the audience feels like the studio has like responsibility to us. It owes us a good movie, and if they can't deliver a good movie, like B-, C+, C- movie is just a betrayal of everything that everything stands for.
But people are angry at it like they were angry at the original Fantastic Four, which is ridiculous because the original Fantastic Four is garbage.
Yeah, but the thing about the original Fantastic Four, which I'm not going to defend it, but I am going to say that I think at least the tone of it, like the weird, goofy, like let's try to be campy.
They made a choice and they stuck with it.
At least, let's try to be campy. And I don't know if, like, even though there were sort of ideas in the new Fantastic Four movie that I liked, I don't know that I'm into the whole gritty Fantastic Four thing. It's a weird, campy, like 1960s Adam West Batman kind of property, and I kind of want to see that version done well, as opposed to like, let's make it Dark Knight again. What I think is
it's weird that like the same levels of anger exist for both.
Yes.
When one is clearly bad and the other is like, it was
And
a sandwich.
in fact, I think that people are weirdly defending the originals now because of the anger they have for the new one. They're like, oh no, those original two weren't that bad. I mean, they were bad, but not as bad as Josh Trank did this, or the studio made Josh Trank do this.
Anna touched on this in Anna and Dave's review of Fantastic Four. She brought up Ninja Turtles. And that to me is, I think that sort of is the discussion with like how mad everybody is at Fan 4 versus how not mad everybody was at Ninja Turtles. I think, and everybody, like, yes.
Everyone's like,
everyone is
bad.
like, yeah, it's a bad movie. But the vitriol that is just spewing for Fantastic Four was not there at all for Ninja Turtles. And Ninja Turtles was objectively a much worse movie than Fantastic Four.
What's funny is I think the anger...
Like, in a measurable way. Like, science can prove that it is worse than the most recent Fantastic Four. Not to say either of them are good. I'm just saying, like, there's Acceptable, there's Ninja Turtles, and there's Fan 4.
I think the anger, almost Fan 4 level of anger existed for Ninja Turtles before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Like when the trailers were out, people were like, what are these giant green babies?
Why do they have noses?
Oh, you're ruining my childhood. It didn't exist like that. It didn't, like, people came, the movie came out and they're like, yeah, that was bad. And that was it. Whereas this, I like the articles, and it happened to Anna and Lacey's review, where like there's articles now on Gawker and stuff where people are looking at all of the responses to the reviews and realizing that somehow the collective internet response became, you said one positive thing in this review, and therefore Fox paid you. You sellout asshole.
Yeah.
Go f*** yourself. And it's like, we just said that we liked the lighting.
There's some stuff, like, it didn't look bad. Like, it looked pretty good.
The DP did a good job.
Look at our set. Do we look like we got a whole bunch of bribery money?
We're sitting in front of a green screen that I'm not going to put anything on.
We went from a conference room to a small round table to literally nothing.
Nothing.
Doesn't it have something to do with, like, expectations, though? Because there was a real moment back when that first trailer that came out that was like, oh, are they trying?
Nobody expected anything from Fan 4, and then the trailer started to hit, and then it was like, hey, this feels like a real movie. What's going on with that big lighty, shooty electricity thing?
Look, I still had no clue what was going on, but it looked like they were trying.
It looked like a real-life movie.
Well, and it looked like they were actually going to hang a plot on all that stuff, which, like, they just didn't end up doing.
Right.
The plot was really droopy and
good trailers.
It was almost as bad as our green screen, you guys.
I think that there were these two sort of pockets of expectation. One is this trend that's been happening for a couple years now, which I actually think, if you look at it objectively and overall, has had some shining stars, but overall is a bad idea, which is giving really creative independent directors who made one really strong movie a giant movie automatically without having them sort of like take steps and learn.
Well, there are no steps in the middle anymore.
Right,
there's no 20 million,
nobody's
40
making
million.
the middle movies,
Yeah.
except maybe starting hopefully like Netflix and Amazon, so there will be those steps later. But right now, nobody's making those movies. So like you go from like you made a $2 million movie to you made a $200 million
here's Jurassic
movie,
World.
and this had two producers on it that believed in your vision, and this has 25 executives on it and an entire corporate team and a marketing team that has opinions, and you have to like balance out. And so I think there's a certain level of anger of I either liked Josh Trank or liked Chronicle and really believed in him and his ability to do something cool with this property, and I feel like Fox f***ed him, and therefore I'm angry with this whole movie, and that's how I'm expressing it.
Yeah.
Or I love Fantastic Four, and even though it weirdly to admit that, I'm so angry having seen this because my expectations were really high. For me, I don't love Superman, but for some reason, Man of Steel still makes me so angry. Man of Steel makes me into like an internet troll, and I don't know why. I think it's because part of me was expecting it to be so much better, and then it got what it got, and so many other people were like, this is good. And I was like, what is wrong with you?
When we came into this discussion, I'm like, oh, I don't usually engage in like, I'm so angry because this was below average or mediocre, but I definitely felt that way about Prometheus. It wasn't that bad, but it had so many little pockets of stupid that I focus on. I would have been disappointed in it as a movie because it was disappointing as a movie, but like, it had so many like little pockets of stupid where if they just excised those, it would have been I would have been like,
Just make it 10 minutes shorter.
yeah, B-. But instead, they're like, we designed a $50 billion surgery machine that doesn't work on half the human population. That's not a thing that people would invest in.
Those trailers, though, for Prometheus.
Oh my god! But that's it. It's if you do good trailer, and then
So it seems like we're kind of circling around expectations versus what's actually delivered.
great first date, but bad in bed.
But again, like,
Sure.
I'm going to go back to Ninja Turtles, though, because Ninja Turtles, we all knew exactly what that movie was going to be based on the trailers.
Yeah, the trailers
Based
were
on
like,
the trailers, based on the pedigree of the filmmakers behind it.
And then didn't we
it
get a
was
slightly
that.
better version of what we thought that movie was going to be?
No, honestly, it was worse than I
it
expected.
was ever so
It was, I mean, just seeing it on screen and confirming that it was that bad, it's like, oh yeah, that's bad. It seems a little worse. If for no other reason, it was much longer than the trailer.
I completely agree
See, I think everyone got their anger out in the trailer, and then they went to see the movie, and they're like, that
Like, I've
elevator
already dealt with that issue.
elevator scene was good.
Yeah.
I like the elevator scene.
That was the highlight of the movie.
They got
that was
the
high point.
They got
of
the
movie.
characters right. That was the. They got the characters right.
Well, happily, Arrow is going to be Casey Jones in the second one.
That's
So
true.
that'll be interesting. But we'll be disproportionately angry. No, we won't. We'll be okay with.
We'll be like,
Teenage
oh,
Mutant
that
Ninja
wasn't
Turtles
so
2.
bad.
Because
That
it had the balls to just be pure garbage instead of like it had a kernel of a good idea and it wasn't good. So now I'm.
Well,
now
also
I'm,
they've been making terrible to well below average Ninja Turtle movies for like a decade and a half.
That animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was pretty good.
TMNT was that was all right.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the show with the girl where they were aliens, it was okay.
Oh, when they brought in the girl turtle?
Yeah, Venus. Or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. That, you don't recognize that.
Did she not have arms or something?
No, her Venus.
It was, because Venus de Milo, just
No,
keep with the art theme.
Yeah, I know.
But she wasn't an artist. Venus de Milo's not an artist.
Well, because there have
She's a
been no
statue-
lady
she's a statue
artists.
without arms.
There have never been
Yeah.
women artists. That's true.
So we've clearly gone off topic from where we started. So is there anything else we need to
I think it's really about expectations because nobody expected much from Ninja Turtles, and they got exactly what they expected. Fantastic Four, I think they got excited based on the trailers, like thinking that Fox was going to put out something good, something that was essentially Marvel quality, and then got something less than that. And then, like, if you look at Ant-Man, everyone was kind of down on, and then it was better than everyone expected. So everyone loved Ant-Man.
Quick conspiracy theory kind of question. Do you think Marvel did bad trailers for Ant-Man on purpose?
Ooh, false flag theory.
I
What do we
could
think?
see that.
Sort of to like.
To opposite fan for us.
Well, and because to deal with the Edgar Wright anger.
Yeah.
You think that like they were like
everybody-
Edgar's angry at this movie now because we
Let's
the Edgar
burn
Wright
all this
situation.
anger right now and then
Right.
turn it.
Yeah, let's have them be angry at the trailer so that then they're happy with the movie.
Well,
That's like
also,
some
the trailer-
WWE level, right?
Yeah, like the trailer comes out, confirms all of our anger about Edgar Wright leaving. It was like, oh, that just looks like a neutered pile of whatever. Edgar Wright was which was legitimately all of our reaction, mine
Yeah.
included. And then so I stopped expecting, and we talked about it a little bit even at Comic-Con. I was like, there was a point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get excited for Ant-Man again. Man, that would be. How much credit do we want to give
That
Marvel
would be
as being evil geniuses?
That would be so Machiavellian.
Yeah.
here's the thing that makes me believe this is even possible, and that's that like Marvel has the built-in guarantee that like 80 million people are going to see their movie no matter how the trailers look. Like Fox, I don't think has that option. Fantastic Four could go completely ignored and make like $40 million if they hadn't run the marketing campaign that they did run. Whereas Marvel, it's like, look, it's going to be a little fluff thing, but it'll be a Marvel movie, so Nick Fury might show up, so you should go see it anyway, right?
Which one of the Avengers is going to show up? I must see it to find out.
Which again, like, and this is another funny instance of how much credit we give to which studio, because we're like, look, the Ant-Man trailers were. I bet Marvel did it on purpose because they're so smart and they're so good at being Marvel. And then like Fox is desperate and stupid, so that's why they tried to put good trailers out for the movie. Like that's, I don't know why.
Here's going to be the real test, though, of like how much we can or can't or whatever expect from Disney is. People are probably going to be disappointed in Star Wars this December. There's a really decent chance that there will be a little bit of anger backlash.
I don't know. If you look at the prequels, those were awful.
Yeah.
And people defended those for years.
People did defend
defend
but
it just boggles my mind.
There's a friend of mine. It took
trash.
me literally 15 years to get through to him that The Phantom Menace was a bad movie. It's going to be interesting because, and I think because the prequels were so bad and because they put such a bad taste in people's mouth about Star Wars, they're desperate for Star Wars to be good again. And so, is that going to raise the expectations to a point where everybody's going to be disproportionately mad about it? It's going to be an all right movie and everybody's going to be furious?
Well, I think
or
if it's
does
an
that
all-right
does that
movie-
give them more leeway to be an all right movie and we're all just happy that it's not?
I don't know. I think if it's an all right movie, like actually like a straight B, you're gonna get a Man of Steel thing where like 100, like half the people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, it was amazing! I'm so happy to see Star Wars again," and the other half of the people being like, "Oh my god, it was so like disappointingly not as good as Star Wars."
Yeah.
And then probably some people who can acknowledge it's somewhere in the middle. But,
No.
like,
Not out loud.
Not for
anyway.
years.
Yeah, I think
on the internet.
I think Man of Steel was somewhere in the middle, which is weird because I don't know anyone else who feels that
No,
way.
it wasn't in the middle. I'm sorry. He runs
the
off
truth,
to save
honestly,
a dog, and then Kevin Costner stands there in the middle of a tornado.
I
and
think
like,
it's somewhere-
Hey, I'm gonna die now.
And he has super speed. He can grab both of them.
See, and those are the same pockets of stupid as Prometheus had, but for some reason they bothered me a lot more in Prometheus.
Right. Okay.
So here's the
what were we talking about?
Star Wars. Here's
Star
the thing.
Wars.
Star Wars.
I think Star Wars. I think if Star Wars had nothing to it, like if it was a complete secret, like the way they did Titanic, or in some ways Avatar, it would put everyone in a situation where like they are creating their own expectations, and so if the movie was a B, they'd walk out being like, okay, that was good, that's fine. I think Star Wars, with the slow release of information that it has been releasing, has just been like raising the bar.
Everything
and
that
like I'm not a Star Wars person.
Yeah.
I like Star Wars, but I'm not a fanboy about Star Wars, and I am like. If there's an article about Star Wars, I read the etymology of the names for all the new characters and for all the old characters. I'm like crazily obsessing about it. And so if this movie's bad, I might actually kill JJ.
Well, we talked about Star Wars and like how we set ourselves up for disappointment with like our own headcanon when we were talking about nostalgia filters last week. This could potentially be a very distressing situation for some people. The number of people is TBD depending on the quality of the movie. One movie that I feel like I'm gonna come out I'm terrified I'm gonna be disappointed of is The Martian, which comes out a little bit before, because I don't trust Ridley Scott anymore. See aforementioned about Prometheus.
But you know what else? Man in the High Castle, great. I am so excited that that's going to be an Amazon series.
Yeah.
So, it could really go either way, but if they ruin the freaking Martian book, or, there's a few other things that if they bring the Gargoyles cartoon back and it sucks, there's so many things where I could just be like, oh, I hate you and everything you stand for.
People who made this.
They did bring the Gargoyles cartoon back. It was called I, Frankenstein.
Oh, man. See, that movie, I actually kind of enjoyed watching.
Because you had low expectations.
That was a movie that was it knew exactly what it was, and it did exactly what I expected it to do based on the fact that it knew what it was.
It's like the Resident
It was
Evil movies.
stupid. I don't even think Resident Evil, I feel like, has more credibility than I, Frankenstein.
Sure, it does a little bit, but for me, it's on that level where it's like, I know how awful this is going to be, but I'm prepared for that and I kind of want it.
Yeah. No,
And
it's
that's fine.
one of those. It's one of those, like, guilty pleasure is not even the right. It's like a weirdly masochistic.
Yeah.
On that level.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. It's like, no, I'm gonna put myself through this.
Yeah.
And enjoy it for some reason.
Yeah, it's like letting yourself be spanked.
It's
creatively.
it's bizarre. Letting yourself be spanked creatively. That's exactly what it is. Which I think is as good a place to wrap up this roundtable. All right, everybody, let us know what you think. Why are we so mad? You know,
Why are we so mad?
Why are we so mad?
They're just movies.
There might be a very good reason for it that we didn't touch on. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Also, Star Wars, how much pressure are you putting on Star Wars to be a good movie? Let us know in the comments down below. Click like, subscribe, stick around CineFix for all the rest of our great CineFix stuff. See you later.
I really hope that Kylo Ren has Leia like captured, and she like threw the lightsaber out the window. So that Han
she
would
didn't have a
find her.
lightsaber.
No,
I really like the rumor that
He's
the
quite a
movie
Star Wars
starts with the
fanboy for
lightsaber.
somebody who
never
hasn't
having
seen The
seen the
Empire
good
Strikes
one.
Back.